hello again, and welcome to another episode of the Hyperion Adventures Podcast. I'm Tom. As always, I'm with my gorgeous, wonderful, intelligent, hard-working, classic Disney attraction memory-loving wife and co-host, Michelle.
Yeah, I was wondering how you're going to do that entry. Although I have to say, you always say such wonderful things about me, and I don't take the time to say them back to you, at least not on the air.
Yeah, you say them to me all the time off the air, and that is just fine. I usually go into those things not knowing exactly what I'm going to say. I just think, oh, what is today's topic again? Somehow I need to work this in. And
okay.
Sometimes it's a good one. Sometimes it's a...
It's always
sometimes
good.
it's a...
It's always good. No, sometimes it's great. Sometimes it's pretty good. Pretty good.
It's pretty good that you joined us today. We are recording this episode on Sunday, May 30th, 2021. A very happy Memorial Day weekend to you all out there. We hope you're staying safe. We hope you're enjoying your barbecues, your get-togethers with hopefully family and friends. Hopefully you're able to do that now after this crazy year we've had. But we hope also when you're doing that you remember what this holiday is actually all about. And that is, of course, the memories of those who have paid the ultimate sacrifice so we can enjoy doing this podcast, having these barbecues, enjoying this long weekend.
Very well said, honey.
Thank you very much. But we're going to have a little fun today with this subject, doing memories in a different way. But of course, we always want to make sure we know what this holiday is truly all about. Thank you for joining us today. In the future, you can find you can find us most everywhere you get podcasts. However, the very best place to find us is on our own website, HyperionAdventuresPodcast.com. And while you're there,
you'll get a prompt to offer you an opportunity to get our newsletter.
Yes, so many prompts. They pop up all over the place. There's one at the bottom of the page. Lots of chances for you to actually sign up for the newsletter and just be more a part of the Hyperion Adventures podcast world.
Right. We hope you do take advantage of that because it's a great weekly newsletter that lets us connect with you all. And for those of you who are already signed up, we really appreciate that.
Yes, we appreciate that you've decided to be a part of this Hyperion Adventures podcast world. We like sending you out things first because you've made that decision, and we will continue to do that long into the future. Another way to be a part of this Hyperion Adventures podcast world is to follow us on social media. We like to have a lot of fun with you out there on social media. Please find us on Twitter at Hyperion Podcast, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest at Hyperion Adventures Podcast. We do have a YouTube channel. Mostly we're just putting out these episodes in a different version of the audio form right now, but we do occasionally pop in something else. And if you ever want to see what kind of videos we have, just do a search for Hyperion Adventures Podcast, hit subscribe, and then you'll know whenever we have a new video. And if you ever want to contact us for any reason, please hit us up at our Gmail account, HyperionAdventuresPodcast@gmail.com.
That's right. And you can connect with us that way to give us some feedback, ask questions, or provide some suggestions if there's a topic you'd like us to do, a deep dive.
A deep dive. Michelle loves to do deep dives. She does deep dives all the time, and she is the best at doing the deep dive. So please hit her up if there's something you'd like us to cover. Also, next week is going to be a very special episode. I don't know yet, but one of the parts of that episode is going to be our third anniversary special episode. We can't believe we're already to our third year of doing this, actually into our fourth year when we're done with that episode, which is crazy. And we'd like you to be a part of it. So if there's anything you'd like to say about our show, whether it's just a note saying something, whether you want to record something in audio format, video format, whatever, just get it to us by Wednesday at midnight, Wednesday heading into Thursday at midnight, and we will be happy, thrilled, honored to include you within that show.
Yeah. Is it important to distinguish midnight Pacific or Eastern time?
No, okay. I don't care. I won't see it at that time anyway because I go to bed at like an obscenely early time, so I'll see it the next morning anyway. Since we have some other things going on this week, I need to get a jump on it early so I can have the show ready to go. So I just needed a couple of days ahead of before we record it.
And thank you to those who have already submitted some things.
Yes, we've already received some really sweet messages that I don't think Michelle has heard yet.
No.
I've had to listen to a few of them because I wanted to make sure I know where to place them within the episode. So this is going to be a surprise for Michelle.
I like that surprise.
There may be a couple that I don't listen to as well, just so I can be surprised when we play them. So, but please send those to us. Also, this week, yes, we are heading out to Avengers Campus for opening day. We hope that you will follow along with us on social media. I try and avoid doing too much on social media when we're out at the parks usually, but I think this day we're going to be all over it since it is opening day. And I know that a lot of you are interested in what the first Marvel themed land on a U.S. park is going to be like. Yeah. And we're looking forward to sharing that with you.
Right. And we're very excited and looking forward to a fun day and wanting to share that with you all.
Yes, so we'll share that with you on that day, and then that will be either part of one episode or 2 episodes. I don't know, but something next weekend. We will immediately afterwards get that out to you for you. But as for today's show, we have lots of stuff for you this week, including if you reside outside of the Golden State and have been itching for your chance to get back to the happiest place on earth, we have some great news for you. We'll definitely talk about that. If you've been anticipating getting a peek at a classic guest favorite attraction that is going through a little bit of a reimagining, well, your chance is coming soon. We'll also talk about that. And an exciting new musical featuring some of your favorite characters is coming to Broadway.
Yeah.
Michelle's super excited about that. So, of course, we'll discuss that as well. But let's get to this week's episode and let's get to our main topic of this week. So yes, as I already mentioned, this week we're looking at celebrating Memorial Day. And of course, we always want to remember what Memorial Day is all about, but we also want to have a little fun with this. And we've done in the past a look back at memories of Disney attractions and Disney songs that from the past as well, from theme parks of the past, or attractions of the past. So we thought we'd kind of approach it in a different way since we've covered that before. Michelle had the brilliant idea, as she always does. She always has the best ideas. But let's do this in kind of a different way, kind of comparing attractions that at some point during their lifespan were one thing, and now they may have adapted to something completely different or just updated to a different version of that attraction.
Right.
So we're going to have a lot of fun with this today with a little bit of Disney attraction, this or that, classic or update.
Yeah, so it was fun preparing for this, and it's also very weird not to have a lot of notes to do a show.
This is like the first time in months she hasn't have a computer in front of her. She just has a bunch of little pieces of paper.
I'm like very uncomfortable. But we hope this is entertaining for you all. And if you're like me listening to podcasts, sometimes I'm like, I just want to tell them what I think about this. So I hope you enjoy kind of listening to our takes, but we'd love to hear about your ideas as well, your feedback on some of our comments of this or that.
Right. And bottom line about this is when we're going to go through these, whether they're the classic version or the updated version, whichever one we discuss, we are going to talk about what we prefer. That doesn't mean we didn't like the original version. That doesn't mean we don't like the updated version. And we will never denigrate anybody's appreciation for either side of it, because when you go out there, something that people love, maybe it wasn't my favorite version of it, whether it's the classic or the updated version, that's somebody's favorite version of it. And, and we appreciate that. And it's all good. It doesn't matter what you like, what you don't like so much. We just want to share what we appreciate. And we'd love, like Michelle said, to know what your feelings are on all these attractions we go through.
Exactly. So
Michelle is going to draw names out of a hat here, or draw attractions out of a hat. And I guess what we're going to do is kind of discuss this based on what attraction you pull out.
Right. I think so. Like I mentioned to you just before we started recording, is I hope this goes as fun as what it did in my head.
Well, Michelle's head is a very fun space. You really have to know what goes on in there.
Space. Exactly. So, I have these folded up little pieces of paper, and on each of them, and I didn't do every single one, but I did do a vast majority, or especially the bigger named attractions that, like you said, were either reimagined or updated or whatever. And we're ready for the first one.
Well, let's hear the first one that she pulls out for our Disney attraction, this or that, classic or update.
Okay, so there's a blend here. Some are Disneyland, some are Disney World. So this particular one is Disneyland.
Okay.
So this or that, Country Bear Jamboree or the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh.
All right, so I start with this one?
Yes.
Okay, Country Bear Jamboree all day for me. I really enjoy Winnie the Pooh. But one of the things I think I enjoy most about going to Winnie the Pooh is looking for that little sort of Easter egg that's hidden within there from the classic Country Bear Jamboree. And I think because I always enjoyed the Country Bear Jamboree back in Disneyland, I still enjoyed it at Walt Disney World, even though it's a truncated version of it. But I enjoy it that much more because of the fact that it's gone from Disneyland. So for me, Winnie the Pooh, great. Our son Scott loves it.
Yes.
We will go over it numerous times during a trip there. But if I had to pick, for me personally, it would be the Country Bear Jamboree. What about you?
Yeah, I would say the same. Although I can't say that I went to the Country Bear Jamboree in Disneyland. If I did, I just don't recall it. But knowing, that I love the show over at Disney World, and I would say that as well. The Winnie the Pooh at Disneyland is a little bit different than the one at Walt Disney World. I feel like the one at Walt Disney World is a little richer with the storyline. The one at Disneyland is cute, just a little more disjointed. Mm-hmm. So I think, again, like you, that would probably push me over to the Country Bear Jamboree over the Disneyland's Winnie the Pooh.
Very good.
Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh.
So that's our decision on that one. We'd love to know what you think about those attractions as well as all these. So, all right, what do we have second for our Disney attraction, this or that, classic or update?
Okay, and if you want to pull any of these out,
no, I'm gonna let you. You're the game show hostess with the mostest, so we definitely have to go with you.
Okay, I think I know. Well, maybe I don't know the answer.
You give your opinion first on this one, since I gave my opinion
this
first
one's got to be yours.
Oh, okay.
Maybe the next one.
All right.
But this one, I really I'm actually kind of curious because I feel like at times I do know, and then other times I'm like, no, I know.
Okay.
All right, ready? For this is at Walt Disney World at Epcot.
Okay.
Maelstrom or Frozen Ever After?
Come on. Hashtag real men love Frozen Ever After. Look, I loved Maelstrom. I loved it. The first few chances I got to go to Walt Disney World, went to Epcot, and I really enjoyed Maelstrom. I think Maelstrom is a fantastic attraction. But as I already said, and as we all know, hashtag real men love Frozen. And I look forward to going on Frozen Ever After virtually every trip when we get the chance to do it. I mean, Anna, Kristoff, Olaf, Sven, Elsa singing "Let It Go" there right as you drop backwards. It's great. I love it personally, and and compared to everybody, Maelstrom was a great attraction, and it actually had a lot of the history of Norway and the mythology of Norway within it. So I really appreciate that about it. But it was basically a walk-on when you went there. I mean, it may be a little bit longer than like Grand Fiesta Tour, but it was 10, 20-minute wait tops every time we seemed to go. Whereas now you go to Frozen Ever After, it's one of the longest waits within Epcot for sure. So I think that other people kind of feel the same way. What do you feel about it though?
I really was impressed and like Frozen Ever After. I tend to go with the traditional there. But I agree with you. It was something that people got so accustomed to that maybe they didn't appreciate it as much, and it's like once it's gone, it's like, oh, I wish it was there. Sure. So I think my preference over the two would be Maelstrom, but it's not that I don't like Frozen Ever After, and I love Marshmallow in Frozen Ever After.
That's true. I do as well. I do.
So yeah, that would be how I would go on that one.
Good.
So I wasn't quite sure how you would, because I know you did like the original one as well. So
I like both versions, but my love for Frozen takes over everything else. So that's why I have to go that way. But I totally appreciate Maelstrom, and that's an interesting one for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
So. All right. So what's next on our Disney attraction? This or that classic or update? This time you get to answer first.
Okay. Oh. All right. So this one is back at Disneyland. It's this or that, Luigi's Flying Tires or Luigi's Rockin' Roadsters.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So what's your feeling on that one?
Actually, that's kind of a hard one to pick, because they're both great in very different ways. I mean, like the Luigi's Flying Tires, you actually had a little bit of, ability to do something there that you controlled, where you're somewhat, I mean, how coordinated you are, or where your tire went. So for those of you who didn't know about this, it was like it looked like a giant inflatable tire laying on its side that you would that was kind of like over air hockey. It was like your own air hockey game.
Yeah. It's hovering bumper cars is what it was.
Right, exactly. And so you could lean certain ways to get your tire to move across the area. And so that was kind of cute. But I guess I'll go with the Luigi's Rockin' Roadsters. That is just so adorable. So that you're in, like a car, and it moves and dances around based on the song, and has different patterns based on the song.
Yeah,
And
it was Disneyland's first trackless attraction.
Oh, that's good to know. So, but yeah, it's really cute, and I love the music, and theming is fabulous. So I guess I'll go with the updated one this time.
There you go. Yeah.
What about you?
I agree with you. I liked both. But there was always issues with the flying tires, that they would break down. People would step on the wrong place, even though they kept telling you not to step on there.
Yeah.
I know some people have turned their ankles trying to get on and off that one. So they had to do something different. And I think what they came up with Luigi's Rollickin' Roadsters is a fun concept, and I like the whole backstory behind it, that he's brought all his cousins and family members from Carsali out there, and they're out just having a big celebration party, and you go out there and they dance. It's a little different every time, because they have like 4 or 5 different songs. So what you will do within the attraction, as far as what your car will do, and also depends on which car you're in and where it will dance and when it will dance and what it will do, is always fun. And there's no more fun attraction to be on during gay days out there for, Pride time, when everybody comes out and gets on that attraction, because let me tell you, it's always fun to be dancing in cars, but it's also really, really fun to be dancing in those cars with the LGBTQ community, for sure.
Yes, they bring the fun. Totally. Yeah, so I agree with you. And, the other thing I was just thinking too about that updated version is it does give an opportunity to change the theming based on holidays. So whether it's Halloween or Christmas time, to have different songs and different types of dancing going on, I think that gives it, bumps it up a little bit too.
Right. Yeah. They do have the layover over out there for both Halloween and Christmas as well. So it can be a little bit different attraction when you come out at different times of year. It's just a lot of fun. I like it. It's one of my favorites. It's a must do at Disney California Adventure Park for us when we have the chance. I mean, I don't know about next week, because we may be all wrapped up in Avengers Campus, but most of the time we will try and hit that up at least once during our trip.
Right. And it's one of those that, it typically isn't an excessively long wait, and it's fun for the little kids too.
Yeah, fun for all ages, for sure. So that's a great choice.
All right,
what's next on our Disney attraction? This or that, classic or update?
All right, so this one is Walt Disney World.
Okay.
All right. Magic Kingdom, Mr. Toad's Wild Ride or The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh?
Well, I can't talk on this because I didn't ever ride Mr. Toad at Walt Disney World. Other than I could tell you I as riding Mr. Toad at Disneyland,
Right.
that would be the one I would
Pretty
choose.
similar.
And-
Yeah.
But since I have not ridden both of them at Walt Disney World, I kind of have to abstain slightly. But I would, if again, pressed. I'm a little bit. The Mr. Toad has a little more excitement to me, but I know you love Winnie the Pooh,
Right.
So I'd like to hear your answer on this.
Yeah, I, like you, love Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, and very happy that it's still out here in California. So if anybody wants to ride that again, that opportunity exists. This one of the Winnie the Pooh adventures, or the many adventures of Winnie the Pooh, I think is just adorable. Really is adorable. And maybe just because I love that version and I love going on there with Scott and having a good time. He loves it. Yes, it's a kiddie ride through and through, but it's just real. If you know the story and everything, I just feel like it's a nice follow along. Their queue is adorable. If when there was the issue of fast passes and walk up, it gave you, an opportunity. And I know during COVID that wasn't available, but it was very creative. And, just watching the kids play all those activities, it was always, great to see that it was something appreciated. So I will go with that one because I know it still exists.
Yeah,
so
you are a huge fan of Winnie the
I
Pooh.
am a
You are a
huge fan.
giant fan of Winnie
Yep.
the Pooh. So I think that also helps add into that equation. for
that's
sure.
true.
We actually didn't watch the movie that has Mr. Toad. I mean, we've seen Mr. Toad make some cameos and other
Right.
things, but as far as the movie where Mr. Toad is really in, we only watched that like last Halloween
Right,
for the
I
first
know.
time in like, I don't know, 20 years or something. So, but whereas Winnie the Pooh, we've watched many, many, many times.
Yes. So love the music. I mean, Sherman Brothers. I'm a huge fan.
Right,
of Sherman
right.
Brothers.
And we
so.
have some Winnie the Pooh news coming up in our
I
Disney
know,
stories of the
I
week. So
know.
that's fun too. So-
All right, this one is really for you because I really also only know part of it. So, Disneyland, submarine voyage, or Finding Nemo submarine voyage.
They're both similar attractions. I mean, you're still kind of going. It's the same track. It's the same submarines. They're bright. They're painted much more brightly
Right.
now, in a bright yellow and everything. I enjoy both of them, but I grew up going, and it was one of my favorite attractions when I was young because it's just kind of it takes you into that experience if you've never been on the submarines here. Okay, spoiler alert, they don't ever really submerge. But it makes you feel like
Right,
you are.
yes.
It gives you that impression of that. And the original version is very much based on 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, going through this undersea world and seeing mermaids and seeing a giant squid.
Right.
And there was a sea monster at one point as
Right.
well. It was just a really enjoyable attraction. I like it now with Nemo. But I think I would have to go just for nostalgia purposes because the kid in me who loved that ride
Right.
growing up, I would go with the classic version of it personally.
Right. And I can see that. Like I said, I didn't go on the classic version to my memory. At least I did go on 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea over at Walt Disney World, which was one of my ultimate favorites. Very sad to see that had to go. So if it was like that, I would have to choose that one as well. But I it's funny in doing, some of the deep dives in the past episodes, looking at some of the history of Disneyland and seeing when you talk about mermaids, they were like some real people mermaids.
Oh
They
yeah,
were like-
originally.
yeah,
Originally they had mermaids perched on the rocks out
Right,
there, like
right.
real people.
Yeah,
like
I've
real
seen
mermaids.
pictures.
Real mermaids.
That's right. So that's kind of interesting. But yeah, great answer.
Thanks. And by the way, if you have never been to Disneyland and haven't experienced the new version of the submarines or the old version for that matter, if you've been to Epcot and have done the Seas with Nemo and Friends,
Right.
the storyline kind of is very similar when
True.
you're on that attraction, but it's cooler in Disneyland
That's true.
because you're actually in a submarine
That's
going
a very
through it.
good point.
So I think it's worth experiencing as long as you don't have. I mean, it can be a little. It's a submarine. It can be a little tight in there as long as you're not worried about claustrophobia.
Right.
You could really enjoy this attraction.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, here's the next one. And this one is all you because I haven't done this. Okay.
All right.
So Disney California Adventure Park, actually.
Mm-hmm.
California Screamin' or Incredicoaster?
Well, they're still, it's basically the same attraction. The track didn't change or anything. I mean, they may have smoothed it out a little bit since California Screamin' to what is the Incredicoaster now. But I have to lean towards the Incredicoaster just because they actually add some story elements within it. I mean, it's pretty simple, but there are some scenes, some interesting things to kind of that catch your eye throughout it. And again, it's still basically the same attraction, and it's a really nice, wooden style roller coaster, classic. A classic pier type roller coaster as it's in Pixar Pier, what was used to be Paradise Pier when it was the California Screamin' coaster. But because of that story element, because I like The Incredibles, and because I think the theming, brings it together, I just have to give it just that slight edge. But really, it's mostly the same attraction.
Right. Well, I mean, you could say the same thing about Winnie the Pooh and Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. Same track, just different theming.
It's quite a little different. I don't remember that time when Winnie the Pooh was sent by Tigger down to HE double hockey sticks. I don't know about you, but
no, not at all.
Although that Heffalump and Woozles area is pretty close to that.
Right. That's funny. So when you go on Incredicoaster now, does it feel faster just because of, because I know like they do the countdown shoot off at the beginning and you have dash through it and things like that.
I think it feels mostly the same, but it's just that when you're going through it, there's just, rather than you're just on this coaster, which is fine. But I like Disney tie-ins to it. So you're looking for these characters as you're going through certain areas for it. And there's a cool finishing scene at the end of it that you go through at the end as well. So I kind of like all that they added to it to, make what was already a great coaster just slightly better.
Sweet.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. So this is, it speaks for itself. Soaring over California or soaring over the world?
I want your answer first on this one.
Soaring over California, hands down.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that was, one, it was the original, but not because it was the original. I just like that one. I was very excited about soaring around the world, but having experienced both of them, I just really, I don't know why, I can't explain it, but the soaring over California to me just felt more interesting, more likable.
Yeah. Here's my opinion on it, and I like both very much.
Yeah,
I'm
me
happy
too.
to go on both. To me, it felt like they tried to make soaring around the world a little more of a thrill ride than soaring over California. Right. Trying to have a more gotcha moments of things coming at you, and are we going to clear this thing and this and that. And it can be a little bit more unsettling, whereas soaring over California just seems like much more of a, not that there aren't some of those moments within it, but it just seems like there's more of this nice, peaceful going over this countryside, these orange groves, all these areas through California. And I've mentioned this many times, what I would really love them to do. And again, when I've mentioned this before, I say, it's me putting more work on the Imagineers to do this, but I would love to be able to go in there and you don't know what you're going to get. Are you going to get soaring around the world? Are you going to get soaring over California?
Right.
Maybe you do something like soaring over Europe, soaring over Asia, soaring over Africa, and like it's like Star Tours. You go in there and it's a different attraction.
Sure.
Many times. Again, adding extra work for the Imagineers that they want no part of right now, but I think that would be really, really cool.
You brought up a good point. I mean, they really did it with Star Tours where they, made something very remarkable like that happen.
But if I was to be pinned down on it, I like soaring over California more. But I also think there's a part of that fact that we don't get it anymore, except for like in small doses. So when it comes back, we get all excited when it's back.
Right, true.
It's the McRib factor. It's like it goes away for a while, and then when it comes back, everyone gets super excited about this thing.
Right.
Whether it's deserve it or not.
True. Good point. Very good point. All right.
So what's next on our Disney attractions? See. This or that, classic or update?
What's next? All right. I think you can answer this one, but I'm not positive. I couldn't remember. Food rocks over soaring. Oh,
well, I never saw Food Rocks. So
I thought maybe you
I didn't get a chance to see Food Rocks. That had gone away by the time I first visited Epcot. So I love Soarin'. But I want to hear what you, because you've done both. So your opinion is what really matters.
Yeah. And again, it's one of those hard ones, kind of like with the Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. When you know you can get it somewhere else, it's you want something that makes it different. So Food Rocks was different, and Soarin' I can get in California. It's all about me. Just kidding. But
it is.
And Food Rocks was cute and quirky, and I loved it. But when I was thinking about this episode and talking about it, what I realized it was a period piece, right? So like, yes, if it were still going on now, people would, recognize some of the songs and stuff like that because there were some classics. But I think what was good about it was it also had more current things. And if it were to continue, it would have to be updated, or else, younger people wouldn't be as connected to it or have that, that kind of an impact with it. So as much as I love Food Rocks, and if I had only one opportunity to go on a ride today of the two of them, I would pick Food Rocks.
Sure.
But I think it's from a business perspective and everything, and overall, it makes sense to have something more updated like a Soarin' that is a little bit more timeless because it doesn't have that music connection with period pieces.
Gotcha. And I think it's again where we just mentioned how it's kind of a thrill ride. Even the Soarin' over California, where it's more, we said it was a little more calm.
Right.
Still a bit more of a thrill ride. It's a little more exciting than a show featuring animatronics or whatever.
Right. Exactly.
Which, again, cool. But I could see why this would be a bigger draw for most people.
Right. And for anybody who didn't know about Food Rocks, it was one of these, like you said, audio animatronic pieces, a show where it talked about food and, trying to emphasize good eating habits, which was a nice message, an edutainment thing that they had at Epcot. And it took, names of bands and just kind of tweaked them to fit, like the Peach Boys and things like that. And so, it was quirky. It was cute.
Yeah. It sounded like it. I would have liked to have seen it at some point outside of like on YouTube or something.
Right.
So very cool. What's next?
All right, let's see here. Oh my gosh, I can't believe this one came right afterwards. So this one, I guess you won't be able to answer then. Kitchen Cabaret versus Food Rocks.
Yeah, well, there I go. I didn't see either one of them. So
see, I really kind of thought you had seen Food Rocks. So that's
I'll have to take, again, your input on this one.
Right. Kitchen Cabaret. Kitchen Cabaret was adorable. And again, I love the music from Food Rocks. And that's what my answer is today at this moment, but on another day, or if I was looking at some old YouTubes and seeing the two of them, I might feel differently. But Kitchen Cabaret was the original one, and it's the one that had Veggie Veggie Fruit song.
Wow.
So again, from childhood and with family and everything, it was one of those songs that could get in your head and just really enjoy. But it was also one about food and about proper eating, talking about food groups, and again, a play on things like Bonnie Appetit and things like that. It was adorable.
Cool. So what was the real difference between the two? Was it just the music stylings between the two, or what would you say? So for those who didn't get to, like me, who didn't get to see them.
Yeah, good question. So the Kitchen Cabaret was really, talking about the 4 food groups at the time, was the big push, and it was cute. It was almost like vaudeville show type
cabaret
thing.
Cabaret
show, right. And then Food Rocks, it was really getting into it had more spice to it, I guess. More of an edge.
Rock and
right.
roll
It's rock
edge.
and roll, and those rockers.
You're learning about the food groups.
But yeah, the characters were a little bit more edgy, and I don't want to make it sound like it was over the top edgy. It wasn't, but it was, in that regards. I think it was more entertaining than educational as the Kitchen Cabaret was. Kitchen Cabaret is just kind of cute. It's just like little kid cute, Think of Figment kind of thing. It's just adorable.
Nice. Figment is adorable. I agree.
Yes.
I wonder if you're going to draw something with Figment out of the hat here. By the way, we were drawing these out of a hat. We don't know what's coming next. Other than Michelle knows what she put in the hat.
Right,
so.
right. And we're kind of getting down there. Not too many left.
Okay, so what's next on our Disney attractions, this or that, classic or update?
Right. So from Epcot, Canada, Circle Vision, which was, like the original, which had a few variations on it, or Canada Far and Wide Circle Vision.
I love the original version. I love the song. I mean, they still have the song. The song is virtually the same, but I like the original version of the song to begin with. So for me, and I don't know if I saw the original version of Canada or if I saw a more updated one later on.
I think probably a little more updated.
And I do like Canada Far and Wide, but I think the Martin Short version,
that was more updated,
is the version that I enjoyed more.
Right. And I guess I could have put all three the other version before Martin Short too, which was the original one. But I agree with you to a point that I like the original one. I like the original music, even the one before. I love the one before Martin Short. Martin Short did do a great job, and I love that one too. But the original one, maybe again, more nostalgic as to why I like it better. The newer version now, the Canada Far and Wide, I love learning more about the geography of the country. I love the educational aspect of it. I learned a lot of things I didn't know. I just didn't think the presentation came through as well as the other versions. Let's put it that way. I do like at the end that they still, brought out some of the little parts to the original one. So I will concur with you. Overall, the original versions were my favorite.
Right. Gotcha. So that's my opinion too, but I saw it less than you did. So, you have more of a historical background in watching that show than I have. So.
But maybe that's why it's interesting to hear your perspective, because you're more objective in looking at the one with Martin Short and the one now.
Yeah. Again, both great. Love them both. But if I had to watch one again, if I can only pick one to watch, it would be the I guess it's not the original version, the version with Martin Short.
Right. Okay. I should probably save this one for last.
Okay.
All right. I'll save that one for last.
So we got two left. Is that it?
We have two left.
Okay.
All right. So this one I can only partially answer. So it's mainly you, honey.
Okay.
Hollywood Tower of Terror or Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout?
Ooh. Well, because this is just in Disneyland, I think that I will have to lean towards Mission Breakout. Now, and there's a reason for this. Now, a Tower of Terror within Disney's Hollywood Studios at Walt Disney World, it's better. They had more. They could do more with it. It has a better pre-show.
Right.
It is the story is more complete within it. It themes a bit better. I hope they don't change that one, because I like that one as it is. The Disneyland version just kind of always felt like it was a knockoff of the Disney Hollywood Studios version of the Tower of Terror.
Agree with you. Right.
So, and there was one problem when they switched it to Mission Breakout. It was that it kind of stuck out like a sore thumb.
Right.
Now, with the opening of Avengers Campus next week, it looks like it's going to blend in much more easily, and that's going to be nice. But the attraction itself is great. It's got the music that you expect from Guardians of the Galaxy. It can be a little bit different each time you go on it because of the fact that there's different falls, raises, whatever, based on what music they have playing.
I think there's like 6 different soundtracks.
Right, something like that. The pre-show blends with it a little better. I find it to be better than the Disneyland version of Tower of Terror. I won't say it's better than the Disney Hollywood Studio version of Tower of Terror, but definitely the Disneyland version. This is preferable to me.
Right. I can see that. I can see what you're saying exactly. And, having done just the Tower of Terror and not done the Guardians of the Galaxy, I agree with you in comparison of the two parks. That the one at Disney World, I mean, and you get that ability to build up that terror, it's not as I don't know how to describe it more than that. You're going through more things, and it just is building and it's building and it's building, and so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So.
The storyline that goes with Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout is, considering that they couldn't do all the things they did at the Disney Hollywood Studios version, it fits better. Also, because you don't have as much build up, you're not being able to take the car and go all these different places or whatever, with it building into it. It launches you. It's an immediate thing,
right?
So it's like, here you go. And you're going,
right.
And so and the music kicks in and you're off, rocket plugs in the things and you go.
Right.
So it has that excitement to it that I think that was lacking from the Disneyland version of the Tower of Terror. So that's why I would pick that one. But
good answer.
I totally get the nostalgia for Tower of Terror on the West Coast as well.
Sure. All right,
last one for our Disney attraction, this or that, classic or update. I think this is the one that's going to have most people up in arms. I have a feeling I know what it is.
And actually, I did my best not to even think about it since I've made the list. I tried to make this list very early on in the week, so I would have a little bit of a fresher perspective. And so I tried not to think about this one to see if I could be a little bit more objective and in the moment. So the Great Movie Ride, or Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway.
Frank and Jen from Dillis Diz, don't listen to this. You may not want to hear our
ahead.
response on this one, at least my response. But I would love to hear what Michelle thinks of this first, because she had more chances to do the Great Movie Ride than I did. I did it a couple times, but I can't say that I did it a lot. So what do you think, Michelle?
Yeah, I mean, really having to think about it and analyze it, my response would be actually the Great Movie Ride. Even though I adore the new version of that attraction. And I love Mickey and Minnie. I love the brightness of it and the fun of it and everything. I guess again, nostalgia, but also and I see the need that they had to change it, because it was also becoming a very much walk-on kind of ride. And it was a great ride just if you're either tired or hot and wanted to get into the air conditioning, so that was kind of nice. But I don't know, I guess maybe because I really liked the movies, and I thought it really embraced the Hollywood part of the park, which I felt like, a lot of things had been leaving away from that you would think of, like when you're thinking of Hollywood, so, getting rid of the, what did you call that ride with the backstage?
Oh, the tour, the
backstage
backlot tour, backstage tour.
Right.
Whatever it was.
So I felt like this was kind of the core of that Hollywood perspective of the park that you went in to see. And I thought it captured that nicely.
Yeah, so I get it. I think, the problem with the Great Movie Ride when I had the chance to ride it, was it was near the end. And so I think that maybe it wasn't receiving the care it received in the past.
Sure.
So I was like, oh, it's fine. I like it enough.
Right.
But I just didn't see everything about it that I thought was spectacular, that so many people loved about it. But I get the nostalgia and I get why it fits there. I get totally everything about it. And I wish that they could have put both things in place. But I have to go with Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway because of the fact that I think it's a top 5 attraction within all of Walt Disney World. Like if you're going to name your top 5 rides that currently exist there, I think it would be somewhere within my top 5.
Interesting.
So I think that because of that, I couldn't have put Great Movie Ride for that. And I liked it. I couldn't have put it as like one of the top 5 attraction within Walt Disney World. So for that factor alone, I have to put Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway ahead of the Great Movie Ride. It's adorable. I love the trackless system that it goes, so you don't exactly know where it's going. I love the little Easter eggs everywhere that you're going to watch. You're going to go on this attraction numerous times and still be picking things out because it's so fantastical, and there are just so many little things that you can't see all at once. I'm looking forward to when we actually finally get to go, when we get to see the pre-show too, because I've heard that also sets the stage that much better for it once we can get the chance to do that as well. So, for me, to me, I would go on Mickey and Minnie's Runaway. It's a must do for me. Like it's something that I want to do every trip we go to Walt Disney World.
Yeah. And I agree with you on that. I just don't know if that would be forever my feeling.
Right.
It's because it is new, because it is glitzy and, bright and, a lot of energy. It's high energy, Oh, and I love Goofy too, obviously. But yeah, it's just a little bit more, I guess, nostalgia. And like you're saying, without the pre-show, it seems like it felt shorter. So maybe with that, it's going to go back to feeling, longer like the other one, the Great Movie Ride.
Interesting. So
yeah,
but I don't think any choice is wrong there.
Right.
I don't think any choice is wrong on any of these. It's all what you like. And what you like is fine. What I like is fine. What you like is fine.
Right.
What everybody likes is fine.
Exactly. And it's this or that as we talk right now, as I mentioned. And it's not like the other ones were not good or not enjoyable. It's just like if you could pick one for today.
Yeah. Again, we would not denigrate any of these, your choices on any of these attractions, any versions of them. We think they're all great. There just are some that we prefer over others.
Right. And I wouldn't say for any of them that I would say, hey, it really should go back to the original one. It's just, again, looking at it in the perspective of if I could only go on one of those versions today, what version would I pick?
Perfect. And we'd love to know what versions you would pick of all these attractions we've gone through. Hit us up on social media, email us, whatever, and we'll share them on an upcoming show. Maybe not our next ones because we're going to be so jam-packed on our next shows. But somewhere in the future, we will go back and revisit that.
Sure.
Maybe we'll revisit these again at some point because there's more attraction. There's always updates. I'm going to be talking about an update to an attraction here in the Disney Stories of the Week in a moment.
So, anyways.
Good job, sweetheart.
Well, thank you.
Great choices, great breakdown. And that is our Disney attractions, This or That, Classic or Update. Good to have those, whether you enjoy the attractions as they are now, whether you enjoyed them as they used to be. It's always good to have those memories of the attractions. That's part of what drives us to keep going back to these Disney parks constantly, is the memories of how much we enjoy this stuff.
Yes, exactly. And, that's why I thought for Memorial Day, I know like you said, we've done the ones of attractions past that are no longer there, but I just thought, let's kind of do this, revisit the memories of the past and compared to the what's new.
Yeah, let's have a little fun with it. And I liked it. Good job, sweetheart. Great job.
You're so
Great
sweet.
job.
Thank
Michelle
you.
always does the best topics. Let's get to the Disney Stories of the Week. We do have a few for you this week, and I'm going to start right here in our own state. And if you do reside outside of our state, the Golden State, California, and have been itching for your chance to get back to the happiest place on earth, well, we have some very good news for you. This from the Disney Parks blog. They say, we are pleased to announce that beginning on June 15th, 2021, everything's happening on June 15th in California, Disneyland will once again be able to welcome travelers from outside the state of California back to the theme parks. Out-of-state visitors may now begin booking their return to the parks on Disneyland.com.
Yeah, that's really exciting news, I'm sure, for a lot of people who, are West Coasters that want to come down to see the park or come over to see the park. And this morning, in looking at what is available, first of all, they've opened up through the end of September, not quite the last day of September, but like around the 27th or the 28th of September. I think they're doing 90 days out now. And they're
it's actually up to 120 now.
Oh, 120.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I was counting. Sorry.
That's part of the story.
My math was wrong.
That's okay. That's part of the story here. That's the only reason I knew that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But yeah, great to see that whether a single park or park hopper passes, there was quite a bit of availability moving forward.
Yes. So it's exciting news. I know there's been a lot of people champing at the bit to get out there and visit Disneyland because they haven't been able to do it for so long. Maybe you've been living in Oregon, Washington, Arizona, anywhere across the country. Maybe, wanting to get to Disneyland and you live on the other side of the country and you were thinking this was going to be the year to do it. Well, now your opportunity is arriving. So, by the way, the state of California still strongly recommends that all guests be fully vaccinated or obtain a negative COVID-19 COVID-19 test prior to entering the theme parks. In addition, all guests will be required to wear an approved face covering throughout their visit at Disneyland Resort. That is as of today. Right. I don't know what happens on June 15th because according to many people, COVID's done on June 15th. No, not really.
Right.
It's just funny that suddenly on June 15th, everything is opening up in California.
Exactly.
So, anyway, just keep tabs on what the rules are as we move forward in California, and they'll let you know whether you have to wear a mask, whether you can wear a mask at certain locations, whether you don't have to wear a mask at all. But as a reminder, also to enter the theme park, all guests ages 3 and older need to have both a ticket and theme park reservation for the same park on the same date. As Michelle mentioned already, they've opened it up now where you can make park reservations up to 120 days out. So if you're looking forward to July, August, into September, you can start looking and booking those dates now. I know we have some wonderful friends of ours that are listeners to the show, Camille and Jonathan Cotton, who have made their plans to come down here in July. We're trying to kind of mesh our schedules. So we may not pay for tickets to get in the park because we're missing those annual passes right now. It starts to add up as you go to the park so many times, but hopefully meeting them at downtown Disney for lunch or something.
We're going to make that happen.
So we are looking forward to that possibility as well.
Yeah, definitely. And it is such good news to hear that it's finally opening up more. And I'm sure it's going to become very popular soon with the opening of Avengers Campus. That's where I'm seeing like in June, mainly the beginning and middle of June, where that's kind of a popular location.
You've seen California Adventures reservations go a little quicker, park pass reservations.
But still most days, and what's great about the park hopper is, whichever park you can get a reservation for, you can go over there, starting at noon, which is really nice. And it's super easy to park hop here.
So speaking of Avengers Campus, while we're talking about this, I might as well bring this up. Now, it was announced this week that the new attraction, Web Slingers, a Spider-Man adventure over at Avengers Campus, is also going to be on the virtual queue system, kind of like Rise of the Resistance. Now, if you have a park hopper, depending on which park you go into the morning at 7 a.m., you can try and get a boarding group for, if you're going to Disneyland Park first, you can try and get a boarding group for Rise of the Resistance. If you're going to Disney California Adventure Park first, you can try and get a boarding group for Web Slingers. Now, if you have a park hopper, you do have the chance at noon, possibly, to try and get the boarding group for the other thing, whether it be Web Slingers if you're coming from Disneyland over to Disney California Adventure Park, or vice versa for Rise of the Resistance. However, if you land a boarding group for one or the other in the morning, and it doesn't get called before noon, you unfortunately will miss out on that opportunity to get the boarding group for the other one. That is, you'll probably miss out. They go within seconds, if minutes, but more likely seconds. So you're probably going to miss out because you cannot hold two boarding groups at the same time. So what you're hoping for, if you were trying to do both in one day, is that you get an early enough boarding group that you get done before noon, and then you can try for the other thing. But just know that going in. So when you're deciding to, if you want park hoppers and are hoping to get both, don't bet on it. It's possible, but I wouldn't gamble on that fact. You may want to try, if you have the ability, to do one day at one park, one day at the other park.
Right. Because then you'll have two opportunities that day to get that. So that's a good idea. Yeah. So it's depending on which of the attractions you really want to see. Or like you said, do one each day and don't do a park hopper, and have two opportunities that day to secure a boarding pass.
Right. And if you are in the park, either park, and you are trying to get Rise of the Resistance, or you're trying to get Web Slingers, you're not successful at 7 a.m., you will still have that opportunity at noon to try and get it again. So just be aware of that. So it's just all what you feel is like. You may get lucky. You may, be at Disney California Adventure Park, get in the first several boarding groups of Web Slingers and be done before noon, and then you could try and get that Rise or vice versa. But if that's what you're depending your whole trip on, is getting both of them, you may want to try a different, give yourself more possibilities if you've been really dying to get on those attractions.
Right. And if you're from the East Coast coming over here, make note of that difference in time. It's noon, not 1 p.m. like it is at Walt Disney World.
Again, as of today, it wouldn't shock me when them not being able to hold these boarding groups together if they either extend the hours of the park, so the park opens a little earlier, giving you a little bit larger window to get those boarding groups in before the next opportunity, or they move it back to that 1 o'clock time.
That's true.
I'm just speculating. I don't know anything about it, but it wouldn't shock me if that's the case.
Yeah, like you said, the main thing is whenever you're going to travel, just check on what that is, but make note that it could be a different time than the other parks.
For sure. And I guess Indiana Jones is also now on the virtual queue as well. So if you can get through both of those, you may be able to get the Indiana Jones virtual queue as well.
Right,
who knows?
Right. Yeah. I don't know that one's a restriction that you can't have.
I don't think you can have 2 boarding groups for anything at any one time. At least as it stands right now. Now, that may change in the future as more things start to get on virtual queues, because it seems like that's kind of the direction they're going.
Right.
So as some of these super popular attractions get on virtual queues, eventually there may be like, okay, you can't get into another virtual queue for like 2 hours or something after you get one, kind of like the Fast Pass system. But eventually you may be able to join a different one. I don't know. But again, I'm totally speculating, but we'll see. Anyway, so for those of you who are trying to get out there and trying to get on both of those, best of luck, however you decide to approach it.
Yeah.
So, moving on, if you've been anticipating getting a peek at a classic guest favorite attraction that is going through a little reimagining, or maybe a little more than a little reimagining, your chance is coming soon. Again, this is from the Disney Parks blog. If you've missed the backside of water, hippos that wiggle their ears, and skippers with a pun for every river bend, we have exciting news. Jungle Cruise will reopen on July 16th, 2021 at Disneyland Park with an updated experience that welcomes new characters from around the world, plus even more of the humor, wildlife, and skipper heart that makes this classic attraction a favorite. At Magic Kingdom Park, meanwhile, you can continue to enjoy the Jungle Cruise while updates are being made, and all changes will be completed at some point this summer. So right now, yes, the Jungle Cruise at Magic Kingdom over at Walt Disney World is still going on, but they're making little changes here and there.
Right.
Meanwhile, at Disneyland, the Jungle Cruise has been closed since the park has reopened, but it's getting set. They're getting ready to reopen it. So it looks like Disneyland will be the first to experience all of the changes, the new storyline that goes along with it.
Yeah, that's exciting. And so happy to hear that it's going to be opening soon.
Right. So now July 16th. So I don't know when we'll get a chance to see it, because again, breaking the bank with these Disneyland tickets. But I am excited to find out all about it and hear the storyline and hear the new jokes from the skippers who are really what the Jungle Cruise is all about anyway. So that's fun.
We could postpone our next trip till then.
No, Avengers Campus over Jungle Cruise. I'm sorry, I love Jungle Cruise, but Avengers Campus, hello. So, very kidding. I know you were kidding. Moving on, and this is one that strikes deeply into the heart of Michelle, and she's very excited about this, even though I don't know when we're going to possibly get a chance to do this, but still, it did plant a seed in our heads. An exciting new musical featuring some of our favorite characters is coming to Broadway. This from D23.com. This fall, Disney fans are invited to venture deep in the 100-acre wood via Winnie the Pooh, the new musical adaptation, a brand new adventure coming to Times Square's Theater Row beginning October 21st, 2021. Winnie the Pooh, Christopher Robin, Piglet, Eeyore, Kangaroo, Rabbit, Owl, and of course Tigger too will come to life on stage through stunning life-size puppetry. The beautifully crafted musical stage adaptation will feature the Sherman Brothers' classic Grammy Award-winning music with additional songs by A.A. Milne.
Yeah, wow. So that is really, really cool. I know that Winnie the Pooh isn't everybody's cup of tea, but it's adorable. And, the fact that it is using puppetry, Disney and puppetry is always very impressive, really impressive. I mean, whether you're talking about like what was used in The Lion King on Broadway, really impressive. At Disney's Animal Kingdom, where they had Nemo the musical.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. So good.
Right.
Frozen.
Frozen, yeah. Things that we've seen on the cruise ship with, maybe not the entire cast being puppets, but definitely some portions of it. Really is so mesmerizing to watch.
Yeah.
It's so impressive. The skill sets that they have and then the uniqueness of the designs of those puppets is just truly amazing. And that's what really drew my attention to this. It's not just, the story of Winnie the Pooh. And, I remember when we went to go see The Little Mermaid and thinking, that's just going to be really as a play. But just to see how the characters moved and how their motions were always ones of being under water.
Under the sea.
Yeah. Then I just know that this is going to be equally impressive and enjoyable.
Yes. Really cool stuff. Very excited for it. And I think it's going to be interesting. We love Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh was the original Toy Story, by the way.
True.
These are
true.
Toys that come to life,
right.
But there's just so much heart involved in Winnie the Pooh.
Exactly.
And there, so many different, it's all of Christopher Robin's personalities put into different parts of his personality, put into all these characters. And I think it's just such a lovely story and endearing. I can't wait to see it on stage, and I hope that I'd love to get to Broadway and see it. But even if we can't, I hope they also have a touring company that can come around at some point, because this sounds wonderful. Moving on with the story, it says Winnie the Pooh, the new musical adaptation, is developed and presented by Jonathan Rockefeller, whose spectacular puppetry delighted audiences who experienced the acclaimed productions of The Very Hungry Caterpillar Show and Paddington Gets in a Jam. Rockefeller says, quote, "I am thrilled to be entrusted to create a new classic for the stage for new audiences as they join the adventure into the 100-acre wood. And what a grand adventure," end quote. So that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yes.
And I'm very excited about it.
Me too.
Yeah. So a ticket pre-sale for Winnie the Pooh, the new musical, begins on June 1st, 2021. Ooh. So that's Tuesday. Hopefully you've listened to this before then. If you're thinking about this, starts on Tuesday. That's before tickets are available to the general public beginning on June 14th of 2021. To register for the pre-sale and to learn more about the new show, you can go to WinnieThePoohShow.com. Again, that's WinnieThePoohShow.com. Cool stuff.
Very cool. Very exciting.
Yeah, exactly. So very much looking forward to it. Now, before we wrap up the Disney stories of the week, I just have one more quick story that you may be interested in from here in California. We've already talked about Avengers Campus opening. If you can't tell already, we're a little excited about it. But there's something interesting for everybody coming up here this week, and this is from the Disney Parks blog. In just a few days, the first recruits will step into Avengers Campus at Disney California Adventure Park. And as we gear up, we're thrilled to share that we will be streaming live the opening ceremony of Avengers Campus on June 2nd. Ooh. Yes, so that's Wednesday night. They will be streaming the opening ceremonies. I don't know if you remember back from Star Wars Galaxy's Edge reopening out here on the West Coast. They did something very similar. I think they did it on the East Coast as well. But we were paying much closer attention on the West Coast because we were gearing up to go at that point to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge as well. So they go on to say, join in with the Disney Parks blog on June 2nd at 8:15 p.m. Pacific time, 11:15 p.m. Eastern time to watch the historic dedication from the Disneyland Resort in California. You'll also catch a glimpse inside the epic land as a few special guests assemble to celebrate this moment. The ceremony will also be featured live on Disneyland's Facebook page and Twitter channels, as well as Disney Parks blog's Facebook and Twitter channels as well. So something cool to check out. And by the way, they usually, if you're on the East Coast and you don't feel like staying up to 11:15 to watch this, they usually have those. They'll be on YouTube the next day, so you can check it out the next day if you desire.
Yeah, looking forward to that. That's exciting, and we'll get a glimpse of it. I mean, I don't know if you've checked out, but there's they released the map online, so you can kind of get a view of that, which, like you mentioned earlier, the Guardians of the Galaxy, that is kind of like flows into that that area as well now nicely. So, and one of my staff is actually going to be out there, and she couldn't get tickets for the 4th, but she's going to be there on the 3rd. So my fingers are crossed that they might be doing some soft openings, and she and her husband might be able to experience that.
I know they've been doing some cast member previews this week, so hopefully something works out with that. So that'd be nice. But we're excited to be out there on the 4th. So that's going to be cool. And if you remember the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, grand opening celebration that they had. Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford showed up. I think
George Lucas.
Yeah, that's right. Billy D. Williams, I believe, showed up as well. So it'll be interesting to see what sort of special guests they get, because there's so many big names from Marvel, and we're so close to Hollywood. Easy to bring them over for something like this. So it'll be interesting to see who comes out for this celebration. Right,
and it's exciting that the Wednesday following the grand opening will be the first Loki series on Disney Plus.
That's right. Yeah, which we're very excited about.
Yeah,
so Loki very much. So that's it for the Disney stories of the week. However, we never leave you without giving you some sort of tip that might help you on your next vacation. And we do this. We always start with Michelle. One, because she's wonderful, gorgeous, intelligent, hardworking. She has the very best lists. She has the very best topics, but she definitely has the very best tips. So let's get to it. Here's Michelle's tip of the week.
Oh, you're so funny. So my tip is actually incorporating a news story, which I wasn't sure if you were going to be announcing it. I was a little sitting on edge, like, I hope I can get to announce this because it's part of my tip. The news story part is that Disney is teaming up with Snapchat to have certain filters available in Walt Disney World, part of the 50th anniversary celebration that's coming up. But the tip is, between now and June 3rd, you have an opportunity to try part of the filters out at home or anywhere you want. The easiest way you can do this is to go on the Disneyland app, and if you scroll down, you'll see that where it says your opportunity to do this. You will have to, if you don't already have one, create a Snapchat account. But anyways, it's really got some really cute. You can either do a selfie with Minnie Mouse, a selfie with Mickey, or a selfie with wearing the traditional Mickey ears. And it's really, really cute. And it makes like little movies where the characters actually move.
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
I've seen it, and they're very animated. It's really cool.
Yeah. So see, like
there's Mickey right now with Michelle. Very cute.
Yeah. So anyways, for right now, when you do it, you have access for 48 hours.
Nice. And
again, that's very short time frame. You only have till June 3rd to try this out, but it's really cute, and you'll get a sneak preview of what's coming ahead with this iconic connection with Disney and Snapchat.
Right. So this is right now, you can do this anywhere, but eventually it's going to be more in use when you're at the park, when you're at Walt Disney World. Right.
Yeah. So
really cool.
Yeah. Did you get it? Iconic.
I got it. Ionic.
All right, I guess we need to wrap this thing up. We're really getting corny. Yeah.
Well, let's first get to my tip, which will not be anywhere as good as Michelle's, because Michelle always has the best tips. My tip is look, it's starting, well, not in every part of the country, but most of the country, it's starting to get hot again. So I'm going to revisit some of our tips for hot days, because I think it's important to bring these out. It's been a while,
right?
Since, one, it's been hot, but also since we've all been out to the parks. For many of us, we haven't. So I just want to revisit some things as you're getting to go back to, whether it be Disneyland or the Walt Disney World Resort. Maybe it's the first time back since they've reopened. You're vaccinated. You're finally feeling comfortable with going back. Just some things to kind of prep you for the heat and to be ready to go when you're out there. I'm going to start with, before you go on your trip, especially if you have not been going a lot of places, have not been getting out a lot because you've been quarantining or whatever for the last year plus, get out and get some exercise and walk a little bit before you go out. So your legs are more prepped and ready for all this mileage you will put in at the parks, because that hasn't changed. You will still walk plenty at the parks when you get back. So also when you go, make sure you have comfortable shoes, maybe a couple pairs of socks to change into when you're out there, because really that's going to help you so many ways and to kind of get your stamina up. If you have comfortable shoes with good arch support and etc., it really will help your day go that much better when you're out there. Obviously, you know me, hydrate when you're out there, especially during hot days. Whether it's hot or not, you should be hydrating regularly, because that will help your stamina as well and help your body recover if you hydrate consistently throughout your trip, but especially on hot days, you will definitely want to do that. And there's water available for you everywhere at the parks. Just go up to anywhere that has a fountain drinks that they give out. Just ask for free water. It's fine, but you can also fill in your own water bottles and bring them in, whatever. But just make sure you have water for everybody in your party as often as possible. We talk about this all the time. It's one of Michelle's favorite tips as far as going out there to these parks during these times of year where it can be wearing you down because of the heat and everything else. Even on the times of year when it's not so hot, it can fatigue you out there. So feel free to take a break somewhere in the middle of the day, go very early, get out there. You go early, you can hit a lot of attractions early or whatever, get that done. And as the day starts getting warmer, maybe right after lunch or whatever, go back to your resort, take a little break, get a shower in, change clothes, hop in the pool, whatever you want to do, get a little nap in. And then as it starts to gradually cool down again in the evening, as much as Florida ever cools down, but it will get a little bit cooler in the evenings, go back and enjoy the second part of the day, whether you're park hopping to a different park or whether you're staying in that same park, and enjoy that time. Believe me, rather than trying to go from opening to close and then you're spending those last 4 or 5 hours at the parks just dying because it's been so hot and you're so exhausted and you're just fried at the end of the day, just take that moment to recharge your batteries will help you so much get through the day.
Now, those are all good points, and like you're saying with the last one is, even though you think, I can do more, I can do duplications of some things that I really love. After a while, if you're worn out, you're really not the level of enjoyment is not as keen as when you feeling refreshed and ready to go.
Plus, if you're doing this on the first few days of your vacation, if you're there for 5 days, 7 days, whatever, and you're burning the candle at both ends for the first few days, it's going to gradually catch up to you much later on in the trip. And then those days are going to suffer. Whereas if you take it a little more, at a gradual pace throughout each day, it'll extend itself out more through the whole vacation. And even if you want to just take a day in the middle, I know you can't really resort hop the way you used to right now, but even just a day to go sit by the pool or relax, go to Disney Springs and grab a meal, take it easy one day in the middle of your trip to just kind of recharge the batteries a little bit. That can help as well.
Yeah. Or you can do some other activities like the miniature golf or, other outdoor type things as well.
Exactly. So that's just a quick tip as we get more towards the summer months. It's going to start getting more busy, just to help you get through these days moving forward and have the best trip possible.
Yeah. Great tips. Much more beneficial and useful than...
No, that Snapchat thing is cool. I like it. I like that a lot. So that's it for this week. Next week, we've already talked about it quite a bit, but it's going to be a very special week for us. As we already mentioned, we will be attending the opening day of Avengers Campus at Disney California Adventure Park on Friday. And of course, we'll share all those super experiences with you out there. We'll be doing it on social media all day on Friday, and then coming back at some point the weekend and telling you all about it, what we experienced, what we liked, what we thought they could do better, whatever. We'll talk about that whole thing. Now, that week also happens to be our 3rd anniversary as a podcast. This is kind of similar to our first anniversary as a podcast, where we went to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge for opening weekend and then had our anniversary, our first anniversary as well there. That we tried to jam into all one episode. It was a long, maybe a little bit too much to jam into one episode. We may split this up. I'm not sure yet. We may split this up into 2 episodes. I'm thinking maybe Saturday, the day after we go to Avengers Campus, we drop something, as kind of talking about Avengers Campus. And then the next day on Sunday, we do our anniversary celebration,
Possibly.
But we'll see how that goes. So anyway, we'll let you know what we're planning on doing, but we want you to be a part of it, whether it's just listening, whether you send us something to, put on the show. We want you to be included within our very, very special episodes.
Yes. Well said, honey.
But we appreciate that you joined us today. In the future, you can find us most everywhere you get podcasts. However, the very best place to find us is on our own website, HyperionAdventurespodcast.com. And while you're there,
Please do sign up for our newsletter.
sign up for our newsletter. It's just another way to be involved in the Hyperion Adventures podcast world. You can also do that by following us on social media. Believe me, you're going to want to check out all the stuff we see out there at Avengers Campus on Friday. And you can do that by following us on Twitter at Hyperion Podcast, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest at Hyperion Adventures Podcast. We do have a YouTube channel. We may do something similar to what we did when Disneyland reopened, where we have a slideshow video of our trip back to Avengers Campus. And we will release that on YouTube along with these episodes. If you want to find us there, just do a search for Hyperion Adventures Podcast, hit subscribe, and you'll know whenever we have a new video for you. And if you ever want to contact us for any reason, please hit us up at our Gmail account, HyperionAdventuresPodcast@gmail.com.
Yes, we'd love to hear from you with any of your comments. And speaking of comments, we also really appreciate any reviews.
Yes, thanks to everybody who's already given us a review. And if you want to do that in the future, of course, we will read that on an upcoming show. By the way, we have some big announcements for our anniversary episode that we'll be mentioning as well. We're excited to tell you a few things we have coming up, so you'll want to tune in for that to that episode for that as well. So that's it for this show. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Hyperion Adventures podcast. We look forward to sharing some time with you again next week, maybe a couple times. Until those times, I'm Tom.
I'm Michelle.
And we hope that you have a magical week.
Bye.